What happened Wednesday night between the Indiana Fever and the Phoenix Mercury was not a rough game. It was not too competitive.
Oh! That's a hand to the neck, and then Alyssa Thomas steps over.
She real life punched her in the throat.
To the ground.
Boom!
Ooh, that's a...
Yo, that's crazy, Chuck.
Ooh, that's a...
Nah.
A hand to the neck.
Yo, AT, I ain't gonna lie. That's the type of stuff that gets you smoked outside. I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Caitlyn Clark gets kneed in the groin, punched in the throat. Alyssa Thomas puts all of her body weight on her to stand up after falling to the ground, punching her and kneeing her in the groin. No foul gets called. They play on. The referees are terrible.
She's going to hit the ground, and when she rolls over, she grabs her back.
And Stephanie White sat there on the sidelines with her arms crossed, tweaking, sniffing, twitching away.
Teams playing hard-nosed basketball. What we witnessed was a systematic failure, from the officials on the floor, to the review process in the booth, to the league office that should have seen this coming from a mile away. And at the center of all of it was the most important player in women's basketball today, Caitlyn Clark, who left that arena with a back injury and did not return. We need to talk about this, all of it, because if we stay quiet, it keeps happening. Indiana Fever versus Phoenix Mercury Wednesday night. Caitlyn Clark comes into this game locked in, 19 points, 8 assists. She is the best player on that court, and she is making it look effortless. The Fever are in control, and Clark is the reason why. And then Alyssa Thomas happens. There's no way to sugarcoat this, so we are not going to try. Alyssa Thomas drives her fist into Caitlyn Clark's throat. That is not a screen. That is not a box out. That is not an aggressive reach for a loose ball. A fist to the throat is one thing and one thing only, an intentional act designed to hurt someone. Watch the replay. Watch the angle.
Like, I'm telling you, right? Look at this angle. She put knees to her groin and her ribs, punched her in the throat, and stepping all over her. Like, offense.
There is no basketball explanation for that contact. None. But it does not stop there. While Clark is already on the ground, already down, Thomas drives her knee directly into Clark's groin, a player who is already on the floor, a player who is not a threat in that moment, a player who is trying to get up. And Thomas puts her knee into her and uses her full body weight to push off of Clark as she stands back up. No foul, no flagrant, no review. Play continues. Let that sit for a moment. A fist to the throat and a knee to the groin.
Knee in the groin, fist on the throat. They hate that white girl.
Of a player on the ground, and the referees standing feet away called absolutely nothing. Not in real time, not after a review, not after the league office had the chance to look at the tape overnight. Nothing. Just Caitlyn Clark, get up and keep playing. As if the Thomas incident were not enough, Clark absorbs a second dangerous foul in the same game. She goes up for a three-point attempt, and a Phoenix Mercury defender steps directly into her landing space. This is not a gray area in the rulebook. Landing space protection exists precisely to prevent what happened next. Clark comes down on the defender's foot and immediately grabs her back. The referees stop play. They go to the monitor. They have the technology. They have multiple...
Caitlyn Clark shoots a three. A player on the Phoenix Mercury gets into her landing space. Caitlyn Clark comes down on her foot. No flagrant called. Caitlyn Clark comes up, holding her back. The referees are terrible.
Camera angles. They literally pause the game, walk over to the screen, and review the footage in real time. And after doing all of that, they come back and announce, no flagrant foul. They watched it, they reviewed it, and they decided it did not meet the standard for a flagrant call. At that point, we have to ask a serious question. What is the review process actually for? If a referee can stop a game, look at a tape that shows a player landing on someone's foot and immediately grabbing her back in pain, and come to the conclusion that nothing wrong occurred, then the review process is not protecting players. It is providing cover for inaction. The Fever went...
Let me turn the sound down. She hits the floor. That's where the defender came in at her too close when she's trying to shoot this three-point shot. She's going to hit the ground, and when she rolls over, she grabs her back. All right? She reaches around and grabs her back.
On to lose that game 111 to 109. 2 points. Caitlyn Clark, who had 19 points and 8 assists before exiting, did not return due to a back injury, a 2-point loss, and their best player was not on the floor for the final minutes because she absorbed 2 dirty plays that went entirely unpunished. Here is the part of this story that makes everything worse. Caitlyn Clark was not walking into Wednesday's game at full health. She has been wearing a back brace earlier this season. Her back situation has been a known issue. It is not a secret. It has been reported on and discussed. And then there is the story of Scott Agnes, a reporter covering the Indiana Fever, who was reportedly let go after revealing information about Clark's back injury. He called it load management. He put
What we all care about is Caitlyn Clark leaving the game with a back injury. The same back injury that Stephanie told us wasn't an injury. The same back injury that they tried to hide until they got called out about it.
actual relevant health information into the public record. And for doing his job as a journalist, he reportedly paid with his career. Think about what that tells us. The Fever organization was apparently sensitive enough about Clark's back situation that a reporter faced professional consequences for discussing it. And yet in a game that the whole world was watching, in a matchup that the league should have been treating with extreme care, that same compromised back was put directly at risk by plays that went completely unaddressed. If the organization knew her back was vulnerable,
Caitlyn Clark leaving the floor right here.
This was in the
Right here. There's her on the bench, and there she goes walking off, and she's going to go back to the back.
and the league knew her back was vulnerable, and yet the officiating crew sent into that building had no apparent directive to protect her, that is not bad luck.
Alyssa Thomas. Again, folks, this play, no foul, no flagrant, no review. Just Caitlyn Clark, get up and play on it. Scott Agnes got fired for saying a little bit too much, being a little bit too forthright with his information.
That is a structural failure. Let's back up even further because Wednesday did not happen in a vacuum. Monday night, these exact same two teams, the Fever and the Mercury, played a game that descended into complete chaos. 5 technical fouls. 2 ejections, including one for Alyssa Thomas herself. It was not a basketball game by the end. It was a war zone. Everyone knew it. Players knew it. Coaches knew it. Every broadcaster covering the league knew it. And the league office absolutely knew it because they were watching. So when Wednesday's rematch was scheduled, a rematch between two teams that had literally just had 5 technicals and 2 ejections 2 days earlier, what did the league do to prepare? What specific instructions were given to the officiating crew? What heightened level of scrutiny was put in place to protect the players, especially Clark, knowing the bad blood and the physical nature of the previous matchup? Because if the answer to those questions is nothing different, then the league set the conditions for Wednesday to happen. They saw the warning signs on Monday, and they sent the same type of officiating crew.
The fact that you didn't get a technical today lets us all know you don't have the cojones, the gonads, the heart, the will, the want to stick up for your players, and you don't have the care to stick up for Caitlyn Clark. You don't care about that player.
Into the same hostile environment on Wednesday without meaningful adjustment. And then Wednesday happened exactly the way you would expect it to. The league did not just fail to respond on Wednesday night. The league failed before the game even started. Now let's talk about something that might seem smaller by comparison but is actually incredibly telling when you zoom out. During Monday's chaotic game, Caitlyn Clark clapped. She clapped, and she was assessed a technical foul for it. As of now, that technical foul has not been rescinded. Here is why that matters. Earlier this season, Paige Buchers received a technical foul for clapping. The exact same type of call, the same category of infraction. That technical was reviewed, reconsidered, and rescinded. It was taken off the books. Caitlyn Clark's clapping technical remains. Same type of play, same type of call, 2 completely different outcomes. And we have to sit with that for a moment because the contrast is impossible to ignore. Clark gets penalized for clapping while the player who put a fist in her throat and drove a knee into her while she was on the ground receives no punishment whatsoever. She gets disciplined for a celebration while her attackers face 0 consequences. The rule book is being applied backwards. She is being punished for things that should not be punishable, while the people physically harming her are being protected by silence and inaction. That is not incompetence. True incompetence would show inconsistency in every direction. What we are seeing is a consistent pattern, pointing in one direction, targeting one player in game after game throughout the same season. After the game, Fever head coach Stephanie White spoke publicly about what happened. She called it egregious. She called it utterly disrespectful. She used exactly the right words, and those words deserve to be said. But here is the honest question that has to be asked. Where was that energy during the game? When Alyssa Thomas drove her fist into Caitlyn Clark's throat and put her knee into Clark on the ground, what happened on the Fever sideline? Did White storm toward the officials? Did she demand a review loudly and visibly in the moment? Did she make the kind of scene that coaches routinely make when their star player gets bumped on a jump shot, let alone...
So the WNBA have decided to, for whatever reason, not rescind the Caitlyn Clark technical foul. This is something where it's like, I get it. In the moment, a referee just teeing up a whole bunch of people because they don't want shit to hit the fan.
Physically assaulted. Because post-game press conferences matter, but your player needed you in real time. She needed that energy on the floor, in front of the referees, in front of Alyssa Thomas, in front of a league that was already watching to see whether anyone would hold them accountable. The right words after the game are important, but they do not replace the moment. And in the moment, on the floor, when it counted, the protection was not there. Here is the broader conversation that cannot be avoided. Every time a dirty play against Caitlyn Clark goes uncalled, a message is being sent to every player in that league. The message is simple. There are no real consequences. You can get physical with her. You can test her. You can send her to the floor and walk away clean. The officials will let it happen, and the league office will not follow up. Players hear that message. They watch what gets called and what does not. They pay attention to who gets protected and who gets left out there alone. And right now, the signal being broadcast across the entire league is that number 22 is an open target. That should concern everyone, not just Caitlyn Clark fans, not just Fever fans, but anyone who cares about the sport and what it is supposed to represent. Caitlyn Clark came into this league and transformed it. The ticket sales, the television ratings, the mainstream cultural relevance that the WNBA has achieved over the past year and a half. So much of that is tied directly to her presence. She brought in viewers who had never watched a WNBA game before. She made the league something people talk about at work, at school, in living rooms that previously had no idea what conference the Fever play in. And the league's response to all of that, call by call, review by review, technical by technical, has been to leave her unprotected, to let the fouls go, to shrug at the tape, to keep a clapping technical on her record while the player who put a fist in her throat skates free. The Fever lost by 2 points on Wednesday. 2 points, and their best player left the floor hurt and did not come back. The fan base that has made this league financially viable, people who bought tickets, people who tuned in for the first time ever, got no injury update after the game. Nothing. The organization that let a reporter go for talking about Clark's back gave its fan base complete silence about her health status after she left the court injured. That is not how you treat the people who built your audience. And those little girls watching at home, the ones who bought number 22 jerseys and told their parents they want to play basketball because of Caitlyn Clark, they are watching this too. They are watching what happens when you are the best player on the floor. They are watching how the league responds when someone puts a fist in your throat. They are learning what the sport thinks of its biggest star. They deserve better than what Wednesday night showed them. Until the WNBA takes this seriously, until the officiating reflects what every camera in that building captured, until that clapping technical gets rescinded, until the league office treats the safety of its most important player as a genuine priority, this conversation is not over. We will keep watching, we will keep talking, and we will keep calling it exactly what it is. This is WNBA Updates. Stay locked in because this story is not finished.